my goodness, you guys, this is the first episode of Mark for Millions, the podcast. Oh my goodness, I am so excited for all of you guys, those who will tune in, those who will watch, those who eat from these episodes and this newness that the Lord is really doing in my life. I am just so excited to be here. I wanted to do this very first episode is called You Are Marked. And I really want to dive into what is Marked for Millions? What is the Lord doing in Annette's life? Who is Annette? Why is she doing this? And what is the impact that she has been called to do? So, for those who don't know me, my name is Annette Campbell. I am 33 years old, born and raised in Rochester, New York, if you guys don't know. I am CEO and founder of a company called The Tax Experience, where we really help CEO founders understand everything from taxes to bookkeeping to accounting. And now God has given me this new baby called Mark for Millions, where I will help those who are called, right? Those who are marked by God to build, to rebuild, to tear apart, to repair so many different areas from business to government to whatever you ever been called to do, just really giving you a space to be you and to unpack and go on a process that the Lord wants you to do. So, how did Annette get to Mark for Millions, you guys? So, a lot of you guys probably have seen me. I built a business. My testimony has got me on stages speaking all over the world of how during the pandemic I literally lost. Well, 5 years ago I lost. Probably actually more than 5 years ago. Probably it's like 7 now. I lost everything, car, apartment, and job, right? And that led to the renewing of my mindset when it came to money and the habits and the behaviors. And from that painful moment that I experienced in my life led to the passion to help people financially. So in the midst of all that, I birthed the tax experience. I went to business. I went to college for business and accounting, right? And I thought like that was just going to be my life until it takes a shift, right? It takes a turn. And from that, I birthed the tax experience from losing everything, car, apartment, and job, from sleeping on the floor at one point in my life to building this company. It really started during the pandemic. Y'all, shout out to the pandemic because the pandemic, it literally was the birthing time for a lot of business owners just like myself to really walk out purpose, you guys. So I lost my job and I said I was never going back to a job, and I called it my faith walk, and I risked everything I had to launch the tax experience. I was able to make my first 6 figures in 90 days of launching my business by the grace of God. Only God could have done that because I was faithful to walk in purpose, you guys. And now 5 years later, I have been able to build the company's 7 figures and been able to grow. And now I have evolved, right? So God will do more in your life when you fully submit and surrender. We've been able to help a lot of people. But now let's fast forward to Mark for Millions, right? Like why isn't that even doing this podcast? So in 2023, so the motions of building a business, right? You go through so much, you guys, going from losing everything to building it, right? Making a large amount of money in a short period amount of time, you guys. I was living my best life, right? Like I'm like, oh, I done made it, I done did it. And God was like, okay, girl, you having a little bit too much fun. Like let's get back to the original plan, right? The original assignment. Because I remember the one thing about me, I talked about this just a little bit ago with one of my friends, is that I remember praying and crying out to help people. I never prayed for money, right? I talk about wealth and I talk about millions because of the mantle that God has given me, but I never prayed for money. I always prayed to help people, and God will give you provision for the vision, right? And as I'm doing that, I feel like my life just started to like take a left, right? So it's like I'm building this business. I've experienced success, right? I'm doing a lot of amazing things, right? Like I see my whole life being transformed, and right in front of me. And then I got to a moment where like literally struggling financially in my business, where it's just like, you guys know how it is, right? Like when you are now building a business, a company, right? Like, the clients, what's going on with the clients, like there was so many different things that was happening. And I'm just like, Lord, like you gave me this business, like what is actually going on, right? So I remember dropping down to my knees and just crying out and praying to the Lord, like, Lord, like you need to help me. Like what is going on? And I remember that was like step one to the journey, right? So I'm experiencing that. And what I now know today was like, I was still in the world, right? Like, and when God did that miracle in my life, right, it was like, okay, I walked out faith. I believe and I trusted in the Lord for a miracle, but I wasn't saved. But I seen God. Like nobody could tell me that that wasn't God who did that in my life, right? Like my car breaking down on the side of the road, a stranger, right, coming and him giving me money, and then my car miraculously turning back on. Like God, I experienced a miracle, right? Like we will experience God in different ways, and then you will move on, right? And you was continue. Not that I was a bad person, right? But I was still kind of like functioning, right? Like I made my money. I was still partying. I was still doing the things that I know I really probably shouldn't have been doing, right? But still building a business, right? But I knew there was some areas that I needed to focus on. So I think it all came to a head in 2023. So, and I was going through a lot of like, I was going through a major situation with a previous friend. It was just a lot of different things. I was in a relationship with a person that I thought was my husband, and literally it was just so many different things. I felt like I was going through a lot, and I'm just like, okay, God, like I need help. Like I can't do this, right? Like I'm kind of operating in my own strength. It's like I'm praying when I really need you, not all the time, right? So in 2023, literally, I remember crying out. It was Father's Day, as a matter of fact, and some of you guys probably know, some of you guys probably don't know. I grew up in foster care, so I don't know who my father is. And I remember being Father's Day, and I remember scrolling on social media like, wow, everybody's enjoying their fathers. Like I wish I knew who my father was. And in that moment, I felt Holy Spirit literally come in my house, and I felt healing in that moment. Like God was reminding me, like, I am your heavenly Father. From that day, I literally went to church that same day because I'm like, what? So I went to church, and 3 months later, I got baptized in August, right? And you know how when you get baptized, you be on fire for the Lord. Like you be like, yes, I'm saved, right? And I literally launched No Kingdom Millionaires Left Behind, right? So like when you love the Lord, like you just be on fire, you want to help, you want to serve the Lord, right? And I launched it. It was good, but it was still, I was still not confident in who I was, still trying to relearn my identity, unlearn the bad decisions and habits, right? I was still walking out salvation, right? We still walk out salvation until eternity, right? So I felt like I was struggling in my confidence, or like, okay, I really just left my old life for my new life, you guys. And let me tell you, like, I remember the last time I stepped foot into a club, like I just knew I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. And I feel like as God, especially being a business owner, like there's certain places and spaces that you no longer can be. As God continues to elevate you, like there's just you change, like you grow. So anyways, and some of y'all probably would never, a lot of people, they be telling me today, like, girl, I could never even picture you in a club. I'm like, oh, trust me, I was outside. Okay. And I had fun. But not really, because sin is fun, right? Not knowing that my fun was leading to really my death. So anyways, fast forward, we're now back. I went to church. I got baptized. I launched No Kingdom Millionaires Left Behind. And I started and I stopped. I was still doing certain things, right? In 2023, I literally, that was like the moment where I hit $1 million in business. And it was so crazy to me because it was like I was experiencing a high, but I was also experiencing so many lows at the same time. So I've been wrestling with this, y'all, for 2 years, right? Like the Lord has been telling me, like, girl, I need you to go. I need you to push. out. Like, I need you to walk this thing out. Like, you are more than just an accountant. You are my daughter, right? And that's something that I had to realize. Like, that's something that me personally, even in business, right? Like, you think that's your purpose. Like, you think like, oh, I'm doing, because trust me, y'all, being in the tax and accounting industry, I'm like, Lord, do you see what I'm out here dealing with? Okay. I'm out here dealing with your sons and daughters, trying to help them financially. They being hard-headed, okay? Like, don't you see me out here? And God's like, okay, yep, I see you out here, and I grace you for that, and there's more, right? So what I had to unlearn was, like, I had to really understand my identity, right? Like, in order to pursue purpose, like, you have to understand your identity in Christ, not in what the world tries to tell you or make you think that you are, right? Because then you're going to be able to fully embrace the fullness of who the Lord has called you and created you to be. And God has called us to be creators, right? Like, we are made in his likeness and his image, right? So that means we are called to be creators, right? So anyways, I'm literally walking this thing out, and mind you, I did my Mark for Millions vision board party. That was in 2023, and you guys, the whole 2024, I'm like battling. Like, I gave my Mark for Millions retreat, but literally at the beginning of this year, like, it was like a heavy conviction. And as I kept getting closer and closer to this, to even launching this out, it was like, I'm still doubting, right? I'm still like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this, and God was like, girl, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So anyways, my whole purpose and passion and what the Lord has told me to do, because this is what the Lord is telling me to do, right? And I'm just being obedient in this moment of creating this podcast for you guys to get the behind the scenes of Annette, right? Like, get a real, more vulnerable, transparent Annette, to give you what the Lord has given me, right? Because ultimately it's not about Annette, it's about the Lord. It's about you getting closer to become everything that he has called you to be. And of course, I know I love business owners, right? And I really have a heart for those who have been called to build, but they might not have a space to be able to evolve, or might not have someone who they can relate to or be able to push them, right? To be able to build without compromise, right? Because, you know, there's so many spaces. This is what really is inspiring the Mark for Millions movement, because I know it's going to be a global movement, and you are going to be a part of it because you're watching it and you're listening and you're tuning in, right? But knowing that God really coming against the lies of the enemy that tells us that we shouldn't build wealth, that tells us all of these things, and the opposite of being a creator, right? And understanding that, and having a conversation about wealth and millions should be it shouldn't be something that is just not talked about, right? Especially if you're building for God's kingdom. Like I said, Genesis 15:5, when God was telling Abraham to count the stars, right? We can't even count the stars. There's million, gazillion stars, right? And that's the type of faith that the Lord wants us to have in relation to anything that we put out here, right? That means our business you are marked for millions, because you are marked by God to influence and to impact millions, not just the money. The money is going to come as you be obedient to the vision, right? Because God is going to provide, but it's not about that, right? And I think that you have in this society and in this world, the distraction of like, oh, I got to get to the bag. I got to make all this money. You see these influencers, you see these people on social media making all these millions of dollars, but are they submitting and surrendered to the Lord? Are they giving? Are they living to be generous? Like, what is going on behind the scenes, right? Are we truly living for the Lord and really being obedient to the assignment over our lives? It's way bigger than the money, right? Let me say that again. It's way bigger than the money, but the money is a part of it, because God is going to give you resources to build $1 million and $1 billion businesses. But we have to make sure that we work on our identity, we work on our heart, we embrace the process, and really understand, and really making sure that we know that God owns everything. Literally, God owns everything. He's entrusting us to steward well, right? And if you're going to build to that next level, right, you need the Lord. Like, you literally cannot do it, you guys. Before, like, even within the last 2 years, God has done some amazing big strides in my business, and I know I wouldn't have been able to do it if I wasn't submitted and surrendered to the Father, right? I had to release control. I had to also make sure that I wasn't, idolizing money. I wasn't idolizing success. I wasn't idolizing these things that you see the world does, right? Or man's opinion, or, the applause, right? Like, I'm literally trying to please my Father, and that's it, right? And making sure that I'm not operating in fear, right? And understanding who God has called me to be, and to walk boldly in the authority that He has given me on this earth, right? We're called to take dominion. And I'm sick and tired of the enemy trying to stop God's people from moving in that, right? From building wealth, right? Because I know if you are marked for millions and you are called to, or you are attracted to this Marked for Millions movement, you are called to another level of wealth, to be a distribution center for the Lord, right? Like, you will generate millions and billions of dollars, because you will be a generous giver. You're going to give out millions and billions of dollars, right? That's what it's about. And we need people in this space to help us in that process, to equip us. But you guys, don't get it twisted. Like, it has been hard. Like, surrendering, being at my feet, increasing my prayer life, separating from people that I thought that would be in my life forever, being around anointed friendships, being plugged into my church home and my community. Like, God cleaned me up, right? I'm not perfect, right? And I know I mismanaged money, right? And I know I wasn't a good steward, but God, by God's grace and mercy, He gives me another shot to help those who may have been on that same track or trying to do better. Like, He has told me, like, now is the time. So that is, like, literally behind the scenes of why Mark for Millions has been birthed and what to look forward to. I have so many things that's getting ready to launch with Mark for Millions. I have my membership, where this is a kingdom focus membership that we will be meeting for business owners to help us build with God, right? Because He is our CEO, right? We can't do anything without Him to be able to help you get to where the Lord has promised you, right? In this season, God had told me He's building up kingdom builders. He's building up wartime builders, those who will build when the chaos, right? Because that was me. I was building with my head down during the pandemic, and now I see myself on the other side. So He is calling us to rise up. There's a wealth transfer that's happening, and we need to be in position. We need to be ready, okay? And it's like a clarion call for those who know, like, I'm a builder. Like, you are called for such a time as this, right? Like, God didn't give you a business to make pennies. He gave you a business to make millions and billions of dollars, but you can't do it without Him. And you can't confuse the resource with the source, right? Like, as God continues to increase you, your prayer time has to increase, right? Your surrenderance and your submission has to be increased, because you don't want to fall victim to the enemy just trying to come in, and now you got too busy. Now you don't got time for the Lord no more. And it's just like, no, like, or relying on that, right? Like, because sometimes as God, and that I can honestly say, like, as God was increasing, I'm like, oh yeah, I got money. And it's like, no, God does not want you to rely on the resource. It's Him who's giving you everything, right? So I'm so excited for Mark for Millions. And just to give you guys, this episode was just really giving you guys the inside of who Annette is, like the pressing, I'll be diving into everything about my life as the Lord leads it. And it's really not about me. It's about what God has done through me to be able to help you, to help those who are tuning in, who are looking for those who are building, but building with the Lord, who are building with the integrity of the Father, building by His principles, and are just doing some amazing things on this earth. So I'm super excited, y'all. Like, I'm so excited, like, because let me tell you, the pressure leading up to this, y'all, like, I was like, oh, I don't need to do this. Like, so I want to just say that to anybody who is in a season who feels like, okay, should I do this? Should I launch out a business? Should I be obedient? Is it the right timing? Like, what are people gonna think? Like, I just encourage you to move forward in faith. Like, the leap of faith that I took 5 years ago is leading me to this exact moment, right? Leading me to now being able to push the next sister or brother forward in purpose, but most of all, pushing you towards Jesus, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters the most, right? Like, I'm nothing without him. Like, I can't do anything without him. And that's what we have to remember. And I think as we continue to submit and surrender to the Lord, like, we're going to see, man, we're going to shake up the world. It's just like, just imagine what the Lord can do if so many more of his daughters and sons are just submitted and surrendered to what he has for them. And I'm just excited to be a part of y'all journey in this next season. So that's just giving you guys a little bit behind the scenes of Mark for Millions, the birthing of Mark for Millions, why I did this, why I'm doing this, and what to expect. We have so much. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Make sure that you drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know if anything resonated with you, what you would like to see from this podcast, and make sure you check out our membership. I would love to have you inside this membership, y'all. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be transformative, all for God's glory, because that's what we're doing it for. Like, we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it. We're being submitted and surrendered and doing everything. Like, I don't want to leave this world with the woulda, coulda, shouldas. Or I don't want to be like, when I make it to heaven, God telling me like, girl, I had all this for you, but you wouldn't do it. Like, you just was in your head, or you was operating in fear, or what people are going to think. So Mark for Millions is a global movement. I'm inviting you to be a part of this movement. It's going to be big. It's going to be epic. And we gonna shake up the enemy. He already shaking in his boots. So, like I said, make sure you like and subscribe. Stay tuned for episode 2. It's literally on the way. And I'm so excited for this next journey. And I hope you guys are too.
When a video, you know where to go. Send a vibes, we got that dope.